Good morning. I am back and it is the last week before Christmas. And the carpenter gods have been nice. It's going to be a bit of that wet stuff later, but it's plus degrees, no ice. I'm warm, I don't have to have my thermals on, which is fantastic. But it is going to be a noisy sight this week. I'm going to have the generator on constantly. And inside, I've got a diesel heater blowing out at 800 degrees to heat up the building, get it up to about 24 degrees so I can dry it, because we cannot insulate it before that timber has got to a certain moisture level. So that's the first thing we got to do, is we've got to focus on getting it dry in there. So I left in a big hurry last week, as you know. It was a short week and I didn't get as much done as I wanted to for the first time in a long time. So I've got to get that wall sealed properly, finished, taped up, Tyvek on, battens on, because then I can foam the windows, and that's the last bit of insulation around the windows. We'll make it airtight, so then it's much easier to keep the temperature stable in there. Right now it's sitting at about 22 degrees, nice and toasty in there, which is nice for me, because if I do get a bit chilly I can go in and just warm up for a few minutes. But I've got to press on with that wall as quickly as possible, and then I've got to decide what I'm going to do next. If it's raining, can't do the roof. It's just going to be too risky. I need to be sure that the weather's going to be stable, even if it's cold. As long as it's stable, I can open up that roof. So I think I might get stuck into that wall or the back gable end. One of the two. I'm going to make my mind up depending on the weather. It's a bit windy. So if the wind is blowing on the back side of the building, I'll take something on the front and vice versa. But for now, let's get on with it. Well, that's that gable all nicely wrapped up now, and we managed to dodge the weather, which was quite nice. But I've got it all taped up nicely. It's now wind tight, this building. So the heater's on, it's cooking away. It's about 22 degrees in there right now. Maybe a little bit too hot, to be honest. It's getting a bit more high humidity in there. But I need to keep the warmth in the building, so when it gets colder later, it will stabilize a bit more. So I've opened a couple of windows just to let the humidity out. Now it's time to move on, because the weather is saying that there's going to be a lot of wet stuff coming. There's no point in me starting on that other wall with the window in, because if we take away the gutter and the rain comes, I'm going to get drenched, and it's also going to run down the wall too, which isn't good. So I think I'm just going to move around to the back, and I'm going to take care of this back gable end, because it doesn't matter too much with the rain. I might get wet, but the wall should stay relatively dry. Let's have a quick look. So I've got it all buttoned up on the new part, but now we're moving on to the old. So we've got to seal this up, and over the weekend when I've been away, I'm guessing it's got quite humid in the building because the smell of mouse pee is very, very strong. So I'm guessing that insulation is going to be full, not very pleasant, of all the mouse crap. So I might have a bit more insulation to change than I was planning, but that is to be expected, to be honest. So I'm going to start now. I'm going to rip down this wall here that you see, take off all the cladding. For now, I'm just going to rip off the cladding and see how we're doing for time, because when it gets dark, now I'm able to go in and work. But I think I'm going to pull off that cladding and take away those two windows up there because we don't need them anymore. I can replace the door, and then I can, if the insulation is okay, I will rip off just the windproofing, put on yips in its place, put on plasterboard in its place, and seal it up again, tape it, Tyvek, and then it's good. I'm pretty happy with how it's going. This building is getting sealed nice and quickly, but I dare not take the roof. I think that's a bit too risky. So let's get on with it. Well, looks like I got lucky with this insulation. It seems to be in pretty good condition. There is a few little black spots, but not enough to be concerned. Like I say, that was just a filtration. So there doesn't seem to be any kind of bad air gaps or anything like that. So I'm gonna leave it be, at least this bit. The bit at the bottom, I have to change so I can show you what they've done wrong. So you see the wall. It's there's no 60s here. It doesn't run at 60 centimeter. So I've got to mess around with the sheets and cut them a little bit. But it's down here is the particular difficult bit. So This beam you see here is the supporting beam, the one that is massively under-dimensioned, as we spoke about. So what I will do is I'm going to add an extra post here. I won't be able to do it now, but I will add that for strength. But the timber you see back there, that is the floor joist. The walls are sat on this load-bearing system here, and that's just basically holding up the gable end, and they've attached joists into those studs. So it is bending down a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. What is a problem is that gap. So that is completely open into the wall construction. And what I think's been happening is the mice have been coming through that gap there because they can get up onto those posts, go along and come in through the gaps. And then they've basically got access to the rest of the wall. All it takes is a small gap in these other ones and they can get all the way up. So I'm going to seal up this gap here just with a piece of timber, re-insulate, and then when I put those sheets on, that should in theory solve that problem and solve everything up. It won't be airtight, so I will have to leave a little bit of Tyvek underneath just hanging down, and what I'll do is I'll wrap that around and back up and tape it into place, and that will seal it for air. So the only issue I really see here, other than that this is way too small, and if they had just built the floor out and then put the walls on top like we've done on the rest of the building, this wouldn't have been an issue at all. But so far so good. Pretty happy. I got that first bit. The whole wall is stripped, cleaned of nails, so it is ready to cover, but the wet stuff is supposed to arrive in about an hour, so I'm just doing a section by section. So I'm going to plug those holes up along the bottom, and then I've got the sheets are pre-cut, ready to go. So I'll get that done, and at least get that section of wall sealed up, and then tomorrow I should be able to seal the rest, get the Tyvek on the wall, cut the roof back ready, and that section's done. On to the next one. And it is kind of nice to hear that heater. I'm not sure if it comes out on camera, but the heater is blowing away, and it is lovely and toasty inside the cabin. I haven't had to light the fire yet. I'll do that a little bit later because it's just kind of cozy. So far so good. Let's carry on. Tell you what, that was a pretty successful day. I'm happy with how everything went. I actually got caught up with everything that I didn't get done last week. So those windows are in, it's foamed. All the windows are now foamed. So this building is airtight, taped, and the batten is on the gable end, which was perfect because the wind came a little bit later. So that sorted that out. Then I managed to get on that back wall and get it stripped off like we discussed. Stripped that off and actually started to put plasterboard back on. So I'm very, very happy that I managed to do that, which means I will definitely be finished tomorrow with that wall. When that is done, then I can tick that off. That's one more wall sealed up, ready and prepared. So that will be done tomorrow. The weather is supposed to turn on the Wednesday, the last day I'm here. If that happens, I will come inside and do some internal work. If not, I'm going to move on to the next wall. We'll see. It's early days yet. But so far, so good. I'm in a t-shirt, it's -2 outside. It's nice and warm in here. All the rubbish is cleaned up because I left it a mess last week. So I'm really happy now. It's doing my head in. So now it's clean and tidy. All those frozen lumps of sawdust that were stuck to the floor are now gone. And we can start drying out the building. So, been a good day. But now I'm tired, I'm hungry. So I'm gonna go in the main cabin, which is also a mess and I've got to clean up. I'm going to sit down, watch some TV and chill out for the evening. So it's been a good first day. See you in the morning, guys. Well, it was a busy start to the morning. I wasn't expecting to find what I found, but with rehab, you always get surprises, especially on a cabin like this. So when I started to strip off the top of the gable end, the little triangle corners, then I discovered that there are no studs there whatsoever. The insulation was bad, the mice have been having fun, there's no ceiling at all. So of course, it ended up being more work, but I'm now closing up the wall. So it should be okay. We're going to still be on schedule because tomorrow. Apparently there's quite a big storm on the way, so I don't really want to be outside getting soaking wet if I don't have to. So I'm gonna push really hard today to get this wall completely closed and sealed up, all prepped up, and then I need to clean up all this stuff back here, because if I'm away next week and it suddenly drops and we get that white stuff again, I don't want to be digging it out of the snow. So, said it now, might come. So far so good. I'm not too disappointed with what's happened so far. I've got it all buttoned up now and the insulation is in and I'm starting to seal. Let's have a look. So now you can see where I changed the insulation. It was full of mice crap and it just wasn't in too good a condition. I've left that section there by the window because I'm considering changing it for large windows to the floor of the loft. But I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do it yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push those windows back, keep them in the structure, and just cover it up with the plasterboard now. And then I'll take care of it from the inside later when I renovate the loft. But it's airtight very soon. And then I need to cut back that overhang from the roof, leave the shingles there for now. And then when I strip the shingles, I can then wrap the Tyvek around and onto the roof and create that airtight seal. So far so good, but I need to press on and get this done before it gets dark, because we'll lose the sun pretty early here. So I've got about 2 hours to get this kind of wrapped up. And then I got to clean up all of this, which is my favorite thing to do. Better push on. Well, I didn't quite make my target, but I'm pretty damn close. The only thing I didn't get done was that door, and that's like an hour's job when it's fitted. So I'll do that tomorrow morning. I can do that even if it's raining. But as you can see, the whole wall is buttoned up nicely. Battens are on. It is not straight. This wall has pushed and leaned over the years. They've done the load bearing all wrong in the center, so there is a bit of work to be done, but I will change that from the inside. It's not too much work. There is going to be a lot of straightening on the connection between the old and the new right there. It is roughly 25 mil out of plumb. The old building has pushed forwards in the center. So running along, if I can get the camera right, running along that line just there, it is bowing out in the center and leaning back in at the top. So I got to do a lot of straightening before I can get the cladding on this wall, but it's only one wall, so it's not the end of the world. But for now, I'm tired, I'm hungry, and I'm going to go in. It's late. I've worked an hour longer than I normally would just to get this wrapped up because I don't work in the rain for free. So, see you in the morning, guys. Well, good morning. It is crappy out there. And like I said, I don't like working in the rain for free. So I'm going to be indoors for the day. Why not? It is dry, it's warm, and I can have the radio on. I don't have to wear wool, which I hate doing, and I hate wearing rain clothes. So this is ideal. I'm going to work indoors for the day. So I decided I'm going to get stuck in on this section here, which is the entrance and the bathroom area. So I'm going to start by up there. There's a bit of stud work that needs to be put in, and I want to seal the new section off from the old section. So if there is any mice still in the old section, they can't get into the new insulation and stuff. So I'm going to seal that up and put in some nogs, and then I'm going to build down this ceiling. I'm undecided if I'm going to go 50 mil or 100 mil. I'm going to kind of make a judgment call because this is the problem area. Everything there is fine, but where you come in right here, I'm going to step away a little bit, you can see better. We have got 2 meter head clearance there. That's fine, but any lower and it starts to become a problem for taller people. I'm a short ass, so it doesn't matter, but I got to think about tenants. So I'm going to make a judgment call on that when I get to it, but I'm going to build down the ceiling. The moisture level is fine in the timber over here now. So I'll build that down and then I can set up the bathroom walls and get ready. So that's today's plan. If I get any further, I'll work my way up to the bedroom section and start doing the same. The only issue I have is I need to keep that inside and keep it dry. and that's in the way of my walls. So not sure what's going to happen there yet, but I'll make a decision at some point. For now, the last day before the Christmas vacation, I'm going to be dry and warm, which, to be honest, I need. On the last day of the week up here, it is always tough to keep motivation high, so I'm going to work it. Well, as with old cabins, there are always surprises. So when I pulled off that paneling, I discovered that the ridge had no support underneath it. That was in the exact same place as where it was before. There was no post there, so there was a lot of weight coming on this roof, especially last winter. I had over 1.5 meters of snow on this roof. So there was a fair few tons coming through just that single piece of 2-4 going that way. That was it, and the paneling was the only thing giving it strength. So now we've got those 4 2x4s in there, nice supporting column, and the foundation is directly underneath that right there, so that works ideally. So now that's nice and strong. But then we also discovered that the doorway had no lintel over the top, nothing to support it. So we've got to correct that, but that presents me with an opportunity, because we were struggling, because on the opposite side of this wall is where we want to have an L-shaped sofa for like a little TV corner. Most sofas are 2.3 and we've only got 2.2 meters there. So now it gives me the opportunity to push that doorway over. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to move that doorway about 15 centimeters over. That will give us a nice bit of space there and a little bit more room to work with in the other room. So it might look slightly strange with the hallway, but I can make some adjustments, I think. So that's the next plan. We're going to put a double or single 2x4 in the corner coming up, then a jack stud with a lintel over the top. I think that's the English word, which sounds strange for an Englishman to say that, but I learned this trade in Norway. And then the same again, a jack stud and a normal stud. So you can see it kind of looks like that and how we've done it on that window. Because there is quite a lot of weight coming down there, especially where the valley is, because that's where the snow gets stuck and always sits. So that's the next job. Let's correct that doorway and get that door back in so I can lock this building up at the end of the day. You know, I think I'm going to call it a day. The head's checked out, and when it's like that, there's no point in carrying on. I'm just going to make some silly mistakes. So I'm going to call it a day. It's only an hour early, but I'm pretty tired now. The week went really well. It's better than I expected, to be honest. I didn't make the progress I really wanted to make, but not by much. I missed it by a little bit. So we got that gable end all wrapped up. It's nicely watertight now, and it's ready for the new door to go in. I also got the rubbish away, which was a particular concern of mine. I did not want to leave that out in case the snow came, because this time last year, it was like this. And then on the 1st of January, we had 2 meters of snow in the south of Norway. So I don't want to come up here and have to dig all the way around, and there'll be bits of rubbish under there. It just gets in the way. It's inefficient to work. So that's good that that's done. And I also spent the day inside now when it's raining outside, in the dry, happy, music on, listening to some music. And I got this all sorted. I was not expecting any of the work that I did here today. So I was hoping to get this wall set up as well, but I had to do this, it's more important. So I've corrected the load bearing for the roof. So now there is a good post all the way down. And also I got the doors done. I managed to move it over 130 mil, which gains us more room for the sofa, which was just a good thing. I took advantage of it. And I also got the load bearing set correctly because there was none in this whole wall. So now that is all sorted. And just to put me in a good mood before the end of the day, I also saw that we hit over 800 subscribers. So thank you to everyone who's been sharing the channel and watching. You guys have been sharing it and we've pushed the numbers up even more. So welcome to everybody who's new. I really hope you like what we're doing. And if you do, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and share it with people you know. See if we can push these numbers up as high as possible because I would really like to keep doing this. But for now, there is only one thing left to say. Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm going to go home. I'm going to do 2 more days of work and then call it a Christmas holiday. Whole week off. It's going to be great. So I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas and I'll see you in the new year. Bye guys. Well, so much for a Christmas holiday. I was hoping to take the whole week off and come back after the New Year's, but checked the weather this morning and we're in for white stuff for 4 solid days. So if I get back up here in the New Year's and I've got 1/2 meter of snow here and on the roof, got a bit of a problem. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cover up that roof with a tarp. Just come up here with Kristin and my son, and we're just going to cover the roof, get that done, and then get back home. Just gives us some security. And then the snow can fall. If it hits this tarp, it's just going to slide off. And also means when I come to do the roof, I can just whip it off and there's no frost underneath. So better get on with it.
It's Christmas again!
Well, that's all wrapped up now. That tarp should stop anything from sticking to the roof. At least if the snow comes now, it should just shed off quite easily, which means when I come to strip the roof, there should be no frost underneath, fingers crossed. I'm gonna go home now and take the rest of my holiday. Back up on the 6th and we press on with the work. But for now, Happy New Year everyone. Bye.
It's Christmas